Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad to be back. I'm going to start with some extremes here and some things. I know you read the title. I'm talking about multiple things, 7 or so things that expats run into that I call disasters. And I'm going to start with something around 1 million pesos. But before I jump into all this, I want to say thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for being here. I enjoy people listening. I enjoy the comments. I like what people are saying. It's been mostly positive stuff. So that's just really cool. I'm glad to be out here and I'm glad to be in the mix and able to help people. So with that, I wanted to talk about some things, right? So I learned something a while back being in fraternal organizations, Masonic organizations. It's the 7 Ps. Right? It's prior, proper, planning, prevents, piss, poor performance. And I'm going to talk about 7 things here, 7 disasters, 7 Ps, but 7 disasters. And this is based on things I've seen, right? Because a lot of this stuff is just like you come here and people don't budget right. And it's just they're on a ticking time bomb. So let's kick this off, right? So I once again, I appreciate you being here and I appreciate you listening all the way through. I'm going to drop some big bombshells at the end. So listen all the way to the end of this video because the last 2 disasters are the big ones that I believe everybody needs to watch out for if you're out here. So disaster number 1, I talked about how I'm going to talk about 1 million pesos because I hear that thrown around a lot. Well, I have 1 million pesos, 1 million pesos a year, 1 million pesos a month, right? Fine. But let's talk about that. Some people think that 1 million pesos is enough to build their dreams, but realize it's only limited money. Here's a real life question. Someone contacted me and said, I have almost 1 million pesos. And he asked me if he could live off that and start over again. Because that's why a lot of people come here because they want to restart their life. They want to like relive what they couldn't live in another place. Right? Maybe they want to start a business, right? Here's the brutal math of it. Here's me laying it on the line. 1 million pesos in US dollars is 17,500. All right. I'm going to put the Canadian up here too, because I know there's a lot of Canadian friends that watch this channel. But if I look at all these budget videos, like you can just type in Philippines budget, right? And you'll see so many videos come up. But what I've realized is here's on average, if we were to go across the Philippines and somebody that's an expat, what they need to live off of per month, right? Just a regular guy, regular gal, like sometimes husband and wife can do it. But here's what it is. 45,000 to 6,000 pesos is, let's break it down. That's what they need per month, right? This includes rent, 15,000 pesos, utilities, 4,000 pesos, food, 10,000, transportation, 3,000, healthcare, 3,000, visa, 3,000. And then you need an emergency, right? About 5,000. So reality, that's only 16 to 18 months of basic living. And that's budgeting like you're living like you don't buy anything. You're living like a monk, right? So this excludes starting a business, having a girlfriend, traveling around from island to island, all the emergencies that can really come up because 5,000 isn't enough to really cover much at all. That's just like if something happens where you need to pull out some quick cash. But here's why this destroys expats. Filipinos can make 1 million last much longer. They know how to live in their country. Expats come with these westernized lifestyles in their heart, and it's very hard to transition, very, very hard to transition from having everything to living modestly. And I suggest if you're going to come here and you have maybe a year or months, start living like you're living over here. Start living modestly, right? Cut back. Don't buy as much as you think you could buy. Learn what's here already and learn what you can't get. And don't buy those things anymore because they're much harder to get. And if you do get them, they're a lot more expensive. So when rent goes up, a tricycle breaks down, there's a surprise family expense that hits. All this takes a bite out of your 1 million pesos. So disaster number 2, they have this fantasy that there's this infinite money, right? They just keep spending, enjoying life. And this is why backup income beats any sort of lump sum that you can come down here with. The core problem is 1 million pesos with no income, bro, is just a ticking time bomb. If you got 1 million pesos with steady income coming behind that, you're cooking. You're doing all right. But this is the difference between success and failure, understanding that you need that something coming in. right? Successful expats, they have corporate America backgrounds, military pensions, they have established income streams. I always suggest learning things online and using the internet and take advantage of that, right? Because expats fail when they realize that they just have this savings and no reoccurring income, and they become homeless, and they just contribute to the local poverty. You've seen the videos, right, of poverty in the Philippines, where a lot of those videos, they don't show you the poverty of expats in the Philippines, but it exists. It's all over the place. So the rule is, it's not how much money you bring, it's how long your money lasts and how smart you are with it. And that's why income and having that backup income is critical. When that million runs out, you're gone, you're on the streets. Because this paradise, it isn't free. You need that steady foundation, right? And you don't just need a plan A and B, you need a C, D, E, F, all the alphabet to be able to sustain here. Disaster number 3, it's these domestic arguments that I see happening, right? I hear them, I even see them, because these cases where maybe an expat is arguing with a Filipina, they can become criminal. There's a rule that I want you to know, a law that I've been seeing used as a weapon. Look it up. I'm going to explain it here, but it's RA 9262. And it's the Anti-Violence Against Women and Children Act. And it can trigger things from just a simple argument into something that turns into a push and shove, aggressive thing. And what happens is with this law is they consider psychological violence a charge, meaning you raise your voice, you talk aggressively. That's a charge that violates the RA 9262. A shove, a grab, even a verbal dispute can be spun into a physical abuse case. Right? You can catch a case out here just for that. So if there are neighbors or friends or officials who side with her, you may be arrested on the spot. The real world scenario is just this. If you're thinking you're having a heated discussion with a girlfriend in a condo or in the streets, you could think again, right? The truth is you just want to walk away. You want to humble yourself, and just, even if you're in the right, you gotta just keep it pushing. But here's the relationship trap. You move in with a Filipino woman and her children. It creates this legal liability. Let's just say after 6 months or so, if you put her kids out because you realize, hey, this isn't working, you could be held responsible for that. Foreigners can provide financial responsibility, and they can help out, but they can't discipline like a single mom's children, right? You can't do that. It just doesn't work here. It's different here. The same women who they call you baby and love and babe, they can file charges against you, and the neighbors and her family will back her up, not you. Trust me on that. Disaster number 4. These false allegations from this same law that I've seen are weaponized once again in the court systems with foreigners. Here's the legal system reality. The Philippines legal system can be used as a strong force, a weapon against you and against any outsider. The laws, they get weaponized. Just like this law here. I've never seen a Filipino charged with this law, but I've definitely heard of foreigners being charged with this law. So it's almost like a little bit of a setup. So these laws, they can be manipulated through connections or corruption or simply out of spite. Like, there's a lot of examples here. There's one big one. I'll mention him at the end of this video just so you watch all the way through, because you may know who I'm talking about, but I'll bring him up as an example just to prove to you what's happening right now. Somebody can be mad at you and say something crazy to you, and then boom, you're on the radar. So I want to do more videos like this and just break down specifics of how you can protect yourself and how you can maneuver and navigate. So definitely comment below, like this video, and really I just want to hear your comments and thoughts about what you would need help with and stories you've heard, so we can discuss them and work things out. In cases involving citizens versus foreigners, the system tends to favor the local party, at least initially. Foreigners are seen as a guest. You'll never be a Filipino. So some common false accusations are domestic violence, child support, neglect, right? Even if non-biological children. There's, say you stole something, theft, property damage, verbal abuse, and then there's things that you may or may not heard of, like grave coercion or unjust vexation. Once these accusations are made, you're already on the defense, man, right? You're already gotta actually like fight and have your evidence, your proof. Disaster number 5. Here we go. Barangays in the police can become personal weapons against you. The barangay system could be a threat. Even the barangay police can be used as a personal weapon against you, right? So you got to realize there's the barangay system, and then there's the police and the officials, right? And how it works is just this. The Philippines is a decentralized system where barangay officials can issue summonses. A girlfriend, an ex, a neighbor, anybody who's been upset can easily file a complaint. Even minor complaints can be part of public records, and they can escalate to a police report, formal charges, temporary protective orders. Also, you'll see abbreviated TPO can warrant your arrest. They'll put you in jail, right? A real life example that I've had, there's where I'm at, they happen to put up a McDonald's, and McDonald's coming up where I'm at is a big deal. So when this McDonald's came up, everybody goes there. People bring their children there. There's no play place like you have in the Western McDonald's. So the children just play throughout the place, right? Some children are just, they just haven't received the discipline that I believe some children would need in terms of being able how to conduct themselves in establishments like this. So I saw a mother. She had a child. I was with a child that I help out here that was on the street. And I saw the mother with her child just acting a fool, even hitting the young child that I was just treating to McDonald's. And what I saw is that her child was hitting the young man that I was with, and she was just being like just a brat is what they would call it. And I said nothing. I just looked at the woman with her child, and she said, "Do you want to be deported?" And I thought back, like, is this a setup? I said nothing. I looked, right? So we got our food and we walked out, right? But I just wanted to give you this example because it shows how quickly situations can escalate, and locals can threaten you with deportation if they're wild like that. It's almost like a powerless reality that we live in. It's almost as if you need to really think, right? Just internally, you want to check yourself, because something like a quiet situation, just looking at somebody, is a reason for somebody to say, "Oh, I have an in." So let's just go to number 6 now. This is why being loud and aggressive in public can land you in jail too, right? I told you that previous story, but I want to break it down for you some more. Public behavior is like a minefield. An expat seen being loud or aggressive can be seen as disrespectful, right? In public settings like bars, markets, transportation can even run you the risk of being reported. Charges that follow is the unjust vexation, these scandals, grave threats, physical assault. Your words can be seen as a physical assault. So it's important just to, like, Filipinos are friendly, but the pride and the reputation matter to them. So you just want to know your surroundings. It's called situational awareness. And your tongue is a powerful weapon when you speak, right? So if you get approached by like somebody that's drunk or aggressive, or somebody that just seems like they don't know how to function, right? It's important that you just reach out to the authorities, because at this point, you're in a place where if you don't have somebody else on your side, you could be in grave danger. And let's jump right into number 7, right? This is the one I told you that could happen to anybody. Number 7, this can definitely happen to anybody. It's what happens after the arrest. The legal system, immigration, it's a nightmare. It's nightmare consequences. You could be barred from leaving the country if you get caught up in this. You could be temporarily jailed. Cases take months, even years to resolve. The guy's name is Vitaly. He'll be in jail at least 2 years, I'm sure. They're talking about 20 years in prison, but I'm sure they'll at least hold him for 2 years for what Vitaly did, right? He was a disruptor. He might deserve it, right? But he'll be locked up, and he'll remember to never mess with the Philippines, because the bail system, they typically don't have one. And if they do, it's not cheap, and bail isn't guaranteed. So if you're a foreigner, man, they're going to tax you. They're going to put it on you. So here's what I want you to leave this video with. Number 1, learn the laws, learn about domestic abuse, things like RA 962. Never escalate anything, walk away, document things, text, video, witnesses, right? Keep emergency contacts, have an attorney on speed dial if needed. Like, know who your true family is, people that'll look out for you, understand the local police, understand the barangay officials, and And if you don't have anything that's valuable to say, don't say anything at all. Just enjoy your time here. Once again, I appreciate this. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments section. I said some pretty salacious things here today, right? So I want to hear what you have to say. And I'm going to produce more videos like this. So tell me what your thoughts about this. If you liked it, if you hated it. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Peace. Love y'all.